Hey guys, what's going on? It is the Sleepy Aussie Giant back again, and this time I'm bringing something completely different, something near and dear to my heart, and that is a Civ 6 update review, sort of thing, I don't know. Basically what I want to do in this video is I wanted to go through and just sort of give you the biggest changes that I've felt coming from Civ 5 onto Civ 6, and basically break it down sort of as the best I can to sort of the bigger key changes that have come through. Because while there has been an absolute lot that has come through with the new Civ 6 update, things still remain the same at the end of the day. But as always guys, just before we get into it, I wanted to thank you guys for all the support at the beginning of the channel. It's been really helpful. And by all means, I am going to be doing another Civ video where I break down all the Civs directly as they are, and go through the best gameplay footages for that. So stay tuned for that one. But if you like this video and you want to see some more Civ or some update news, by all means let me know in the comments below, because it is something that I like to play, and I'm a big mantra player of the one more turn religion. Where, I've just had endless nights. But, so, I've got the trailer running in the background, and I'll put a link to the description for all the gameplay and footage and all that sort of that you see. And what I wanted to do is I really wanted to break it down to sort of around about 10 major changes that we've got. So, in the background we've just got some gameplay footage of one of my current games we're playing. Nothing crazy going on. But, the biggest thing that we start with, in my opinion, is the new unstacked cities. Okay, so in the past, in past Civs, particularly in Civ 5, is everything was placed in one civilization. All your buildings, all your wonders, it was in one tile and one tile only. Civ 6 has changed that in the sense that there are now different districts within each one. So each district will have its own sort of feel. So you'll have a scientific district, which will manage all your science output for the actual city itself. That's where your library, university, research facilities will be held. On top of that, you'll also have your military districts, your encampment districts, your harbour districts, market districts to hold your markets, your banks, your stock markets, where your economy comes from, as well as your industrial towards the end game. And there's a few other specialised ones that come along, like a harbour and a neighbourhood, which do different things. And I won't go into too much detail at this point, but that's fine. Now, the key fundamental thing to remember with these guys is that each one gives a different reason, and they're all actually dependent upon the terrain. So mountains and holy sites want to be next to mountains. So you'll have to strategically pick which one you want to have on. You need to have the harbour. Now the harbour is a big one in the sense that as long as it's on a water tile, it's happy, which means you no longer have to build your civilization and city centre on the edge. And that's a big change. The other big changes that make with districts is, one thing that should be known anyway, is that your city and your city centre can no longer defend or launch an attack or defend itself by default. Okay? That needs to be done by building walls, at which point you will then have the options to use catapults or, trebuchets, depending on what area you're in. But one way to sort of negate that halfway is the encampment district, which is going to hold your stables, your barracks, your training facilities, stuff like that. That also has the ability to defend. Now, you can put that between two cities, and that would actually act as a midpoint. It could actually defend both potentially. So bear that in mind. So in my opinion, the two most important districts you've got, definitely the harbour, because it no longer has to be on a sea edge to get water units, as well as the military district being the encampment. So keep an eye out for them, guys. One other thing that we've got to mention here is that in the new Civs, happiness is now generated locally on the city and not globally based on the city. So with that alone, having a local economy, a local happiness economy, is you no longer have to worry about that random city that you need to place just to get that resource. You can throw it out there. It's got no happiness. It's fine. It's not growing. It doesn't matter. You're just there to collect the resource, and that's fine. So that's one thing that I'm really, really happy about, because there's been plenty of times when I've been in the game and I've been stretching my cities really thin where I've just got to get to that one last uranium deposit to have enough. But it drags my entire happiness down and then no production gets happening. So that solves that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is the new builders system. In the past, builders have had unlimited actions, if you would, and they can just set them on automation and they just start to create. Fine. That is not the case anymore. Builders now have a limit, and depending on the civilization that you use, will depend upon exactly how much you can use of them. In the sense that if you're using a certain civ, you actually have 5 actions that they can do, or 5 different things that they'll be able to build, where generically it's going to be 3. So the biggest thing with that is, you're going to ask me, what about the road system? We use builders to build roads. Civ 6, you no longer need builders for roads. Roads are generated now purely by trade routes, and by traders' units themselves. So you're going to need to make sure you keep your trade routes up and keep them mobile between your cities to make sure they work. Now, once they're made and they hold, because you'll receive a trading post in both cities, which will in turn give you the constant boost without having the unit going backwards and forwards. The fun thing with this is you can still trade with AI civs and city-states. So if you're going to do that, let's say I'm playing as we are in the background, I'm playing as Cynthians, and we're going against Rome. I'm going to trade with Rome. I'm giving them a direct line of road to my city without any incumbents or environmental costs for them to just march their army across, essentially, if they choose, or I choose to attack. Yeah. So changing the road system changes the game strategically massively, which I love. One of the best things about this one is now I need to be particularly sure if I want to actually give them to trade with them. Moving on with that and how that all works, I want to move into sort of the new AI stuff. So we'll start off with the actual civs themselves. I won't go too detailed with the civs because I've got a whole another video coming on the civs themselves, but they have an agenda that is known generally. Basically, so for Cleopatra, for instance, one of her known agenda is that she likes civilizations with a strong military and will try to ally herself to them. If you have a weak military, she'll hate you, basically. And it's all a love-hate relationship with these basic agendas. And there's also a hidden agenda for every civ that you don't know until you use gossip and a few other things, but I'll go through all of that in the next video. But the one thing I did want to mention early on is the AI civ city-states. Now the city-states, they have an envoy system where you will generate an envoy dependent upon the different needs. Once you have enough, you can actually become a suzerain of the city-state. With the suzerain of the city-state, you'll get different bonuses dependent upon the city-state itself. And the city-states are broken out into 4 main types. You'll have your science, your military, your religion, and your production. But you'll also come across it every now and then for an economics, which will just give you massive gold boosts. Now, for instance, as an example, you'll have for an economics, you'll have at the first level, you'll get 2 gold, 4 gold for the second level, and you'll actually go all the way up to 10 gold per turn for being the suzerain of that city-state. So it's something to keep an eye out for and practice with them. Religion, guys. Religion is the next big one. Religion is a feasible option now. You can now attack with your own religious units for other religious units and not pay warmongering costs, which is the biggest thing. And you can tailor religions a lot better now with your pantheon selection as well as your actual religious choices yourselves. So religion is something that don't count religion out in Civ 6. If you're playing an online game and someone comes across starting pushing religion on you, be wary because they're going to go for that win because it can happen this time. So just keep an eye for that one, guys. Speaking about multiplayer, you can play multiplayer now. The devs must have sat down and said to themselves, hey, how can we make this Civ 6 multiplayer online? and they must have come up with this perfect solution. There is a new game speed mode, which is online, and it basically drastically reduces everything down, including the choices of the AI should there be multiple players. More players there are, the less decisions the AI will actually make, will take to make. Don't ask me how it works, I'm not that genius, but it works well. I was jumped on online for a game before. There were 6 other guys online, and we still had 5 city-states playing. Or 6, yeah, because we're going 12 game Civ. And we were playing, we had the game comfortably done in a few hours. That was complete. Sure, I didn't win, that's fine. But 3 hours and we were done, and that was just with the actual new online mode itself. So kudos to 2X and Fracas for getting this up and running the way it has, because online is actually feasible now, and I'm definitely planning to get a few more guys onto this so I can have another crack with it. The next thing I wanted to talk about is something a little different, and we'll go into it, but it's actually the playstyles themselves. The playstyles, when I refer to playstyles, I mean that in past civilizations, particularly 4 and 5, is that dependent upon the civ that you selected, you already knew what type of victory you're going for. If you got Victoria, you were pushing for a naval military domination. If you got Russia, you were also pushing for military domination. If you got South Korea, if you got the DLC or Gilgamesh, you were pushing for a science victory. It was very clear to see where what you had to play to win the game. That is now gone out the window in Civ 6. You can literally win any type of victory with any character. It doesn't matter, because you're tailoring, and that just comes down to all the extra selection points that you've got to place. The city planning, the districts, you can just tailor-made cities as you need. And saying that, the AI can do the same. So it's a lot more unpredictable. It's a lot more unpredictable in the sense that you don't know what that AI civ is going for. He might have Russia, and in previous games you would naturally assume, alright, he's pushing for domination victory, I'll get rid of him in the ancient era before warmongering penalties kick in, and I'll be on my way. And that would have worked in the past. This, no. You could still get rid of him early stage, but there might be, well, obviously not Gandhi, because yes guys, the Gandhi bug is still in place, but you might have, as someone around the corner, you might have Elizabeth there who's pushing for a land victory for whatever reason. You've got Peter II or Pedro just pushing in for science or domination or cultural victory. It can change every game, and it makes Civ 6 or Civilization 6 so much more refreshing, and I love it for it. So guys, that was just sort of a list of the biggest things that I liked. Let me know what you think about in the comments below. Let me know if you like or dislike this type of video. As I said, I will be going through and doing a more detailed one on the civs themselves, which is fine, which is coming out in the next couple of days. I just want to break down the civs for you guys. It'll make it a lot clearer in a sense. But as always guys, if you like what you're seeing, let me know in the comments below. Like, share and subscribe, do all those good things. If you want to pick up Civ 6, I will put a link in the description below, just for you guys to check it out. But until then guys, this has been the Sleepy Aussie Giant saying, see you next time.